Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Welcome, sir. In a speech in September last year, you highlighted the great successes of the Southern District of New York, specifically calling out, and I quote, the successful prosecution of the former president of Honduras and other high-level Honduran officials for narcotics trafficking and firearms charges for partnering with some of the largest and most violent cartels in the world to distribute tons of cocaine to the United States. Is that correct? Yes.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's
fair. Now, on November 28th, 2025, President Trump issued a full and complete pardon to Juan Orlando Hernandez. Mm-hmm. Were you consulted about the pardon?
I'm not going to get into the pardon process here. The president's pardon power, I think there's only a few powers in our Constitution that are unreviewable and absolute. That's one of them. And whether it's President Biden, President Trump, or a future president, that's their power.
Are you aware of any quid pro quo regarding the pardon?
I'm not aware of any such thing.
Why would the President of the United States pardon someone that you had convicted and described as being involved in violent activities and allowing tons of cocaine to enter the United States?
Like I said, I'm not going to discuss a specific pardon thing. That's the president's pardon power.
Well, it seems to me that all the rhetoric that we've heard about fighting drugs, and in fact, we've killed over 200 people in the Caribbean and Pacific because they were not presidents of countries, but minor dealers in or transporters of heroin. And yet here is a king maker or king piece who gets to walk.
Senator Reid, what I can say, and I want to be very clear, I'm not talking about the specific instance, but in our efforts to counteract the serious drug threat from south of our border, we engage with the Department of State, others, on matters of this type. It is a whole-of-government approach to this type of threat.
Thank you. Admiral Paparo, who's extraordinary commander of Indo-PACOM, indicated in testimony before the Armed Services Committee that allowing China to get access to sophisticated chips would eventually come at the expense of American service members in a conflict. So if we're giving chips to China, we're threatening or at least making it more difficult to survival our troops. President Trump, after speaking with Xi, announced a significant policy change to sell H-200 chips to China. Do you agree with the transfer of these advanced chips threatens our military security and more particularly the lives of our service members?
Senator, I'm not familiar with that particular decision, but you raise a point that I'm very proud of what my office and our partners were able to do. Chips that were sanctioned and subject to criminal sanction for being diverted to China, we brought that case.
I know, and you successfully convicted people for taking the very same chips and getting them into China. The President of the United States turns around and gives them to Xi. And the logic, I think, of your case was these chips would have been detrimental to the security of the United States. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, the logic of our case from a prosecutor's point of view was it was illegal to do it. It was a priority for the Department of Commerce, and we brought the case.
Thank you. One of the things that everyone in your business has to do is speak truth to power, mm-hmm. and particularly when it's very uncomfortable to do that. Mm-hmm. After Operation Midnight Hammer, Lieutenant General Jeffrey Cruz of the Defense Intelligence Agency allowed his analysis to go forward, which said that it did not obliterate the atomic nuclear capacities of Iran. And he was summarily fired for speaking truth to power. It's interesting now because we're at war with Iran, and one of the principles is that they have a nuclear capacity that we didn't take out. Now, I think it appears General Cruz was truthful, and he was punished for being truthful. In your position, you're going to have to stand up to the president and say, no, you can't do that. Are you prepared to stand up?
Senator, that's a hypothetical.
No,
but
it's not a hypothetical. It happened.
But let me just say, in my many years in public and private sector, I've given people my views in the appropriate form, in the appropriate way. I'm completely comfortable that I'll continue to do that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Support journalism you trust. Support PBS News. Donate now, or even better, start a monthly contribution today.